welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah Holly and today we are filming a what I eat in a day. I'm hopeful that this video feels inspiring to you of types of meals that you could prep for yourself for a long week or just shake things up to be able to have healthy food in a very low effort kind of way. Today is going to be a bit of a mix where my breakfast is kind of half prepped, my lunch is fully meal prepped, and my dinner is going to be cooked from scratch. So you kind of get to see all the different styles of the way that I like to prepare my food. I love cooking, I love food, but I'm also highly efficient and I'm a busy gal. So having food meal prepped or cooking a meal and overcooking servings so that I can have leftovers is essential to the way that I live my life. I almost always have at least one or two types of meals that have been meal prepped. So like different kind of flavor profiles to choose from. And then I have some basics that I just keep on hand all the time so that I can easily whip something together when I need to. So you'll see some of that as well. As you've seen, I am drinking my cup of coffee in the morning. I do my best to just have one cup of coffee in the morning. Occasionally I'll have an iced coffee around like 2-ish in the afternoon and I start to feel that slump, but I love my morning coffee. I also do keep my water around. I know it is not great to have coffee be the first thing that you consume in the morning, so I do try to drink a good amount of water, but I will tell you that that is definitely an imperfect part of my daily habits, so I'm trying to be better about it. I am going to go get ready and just kind of have a slow morning as I get ready. Today's a work day, and so I'm going to be doing partially work from home. And so I will see you in a little bit when it's time for breakfast. Hi there, I've been working for a bit. I am done up, I feel refreshed. I've been working for a while, but I am just about done with my coffee and I'm starting to get a bit hungry, so it's time for breakfast. Now, I typically have one of two types of breakfasts. When I'm home, I'll usually have some sort of yogurt-based breakfast, so Greek yogurt, either vanilla or plain, fruit, usually a variety of fruit, and then my mom's homemade granola, which I have almost every day. And then the other option, especially when I'm at work, is oatmeal. So I'm actually gonna make the oatmeal today, which I don't do often at home, but I wanted to give you an example of the type of half meal prepped meal that you could have if you also work a corporate job or just typically have breakfast outside of your home. It's something that I kind of discovered a few years ago and it has served me really well over the years, and so I wanted to show you. Now in my office I have a like instant coffee machine thing that sits in our cafe that also does boiling water, and so I usually just can walk up to there and instantly get boiling water. Obviously don't have that here, so I do have an electric kettle, so I'm gonna boil some water, which takes longer than it would if I was in the office, but is still a very easy thing to do. So let's start with that. Okay, my kettle is on. Now I need to go get my other ingredients. Oats, my mom's granola, but you could go with any sort of granola. I specifically like this because it has nuts and dried fruit in it as well. I'll explain a little bit more about the dried fruit later and why I like that, but that is a key ingredient for me. Natural peanut butter, crunchy or creamy, either work, depends on your preference. Ultimately, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. You can start to hear my kettle. And one banana. The thing that's so great about these ingredients is all three of these I just keep at the office. They're essentially non-perishable and they're easy to just stash away in a drawer. And so the only thing that I have to bring to the office for a delicious and nutritious meal is a banana or some other type of fruit. Sometimes I'll bring blueberries. I actually have some fresh in the fridge, so I might add some of those as well, but easy access fruit to bring and add to the granola is always nice. But even if I'm out of fruit or I completely forget, this is still a really delicious breakfast. One more important thing to note is my office has compostable soup bowls. They're disposable. They're probably like this far around, that tall, anyway, and they have a top on them, and that's what I use each day to cook my oats, essentially. I don't put them in the microwave. I find that that was too messy and honestly just an extra step I didn't really need. So I'll explain kind of how that works. But because I'm not there today, we're going to use one of my glass Tupperware. The only thing is you need a lid that is tight-ish. It doesn't have to be like air sealed, but you need some sort of lid to allow kind of the steaming to happen inside. Okay, let's put our oatmeal together. I would say about half of a cup of oats is enough for me. It depends on how hungry you are, but just remember the oats always expand and you're putting other things in. So half a cup tends to be the right amount for me. I usually put a couple tablespoons, like maybe a quarter cup, a little less, of granola in. Okay, so you can see this doesn't actually look like that much, but it expands, and then when you add all the fruit and the peanut butter and everything, I find it to be a really filling meal. You can always add more if you get hungry, or you'll find like your right amount. But this is what we are working with this morning. Okay, next I'm gonna take some hot water and fill it to just covering what's in here. You don't wanna fill it too much because then you're gonna have watery oatmeal, but you also don't wanna fill it too little to where it doesn't absorb a lot. So fill it just covering everything, and then that's perfect. Okay, let's cap it. And at work, I would say, you can see it already steaming. I would say it takes maybe 7 to 8 minutes to fully kind of cook through. I'm not sure what this one will take, but I would guess it'll be maybe 5 because it's more distributed. I don't know, but you'll tell because it won't be watery anymore. It's very simple. So I'll come back to you in about 5 minutes. I'm back. The oatmeal is officially absorbed. I did actually find that I had a bit too much water, even though it does look like all the oats have kind of softened. So I just poured it out. This is really foolproof. But now it is time to add some of the fun ingredients. So I'm gonna probably start with my peanut butter because I'll have a clean spoon. And then I'll put in my fruit, and then we're ready to eat. Fresh picked blueberries from Michigan farms. Doesn't get much better than that. And there is breakfast. As you can see, it did not look like there was much when we started, but it really does grow. So beware, do not over add the oats, because I've definitely done that. In fact, this actually looks like a lot of food. But anyway, I hope you have a lovely breakfast, and I will see you at lunch. Hi, it's lunchtime. It's actually past lunchtime. It's about 1:30 now. I expected to go into the office today, and so I packed a lunch, but I just never ended up needing to, so I ended up working from home all day. However, I do still need to eat lunch, so we're going to have our meal prepped lunch, and you'll still get to see that. Here is my lunch. I have a bowl of salad, and in fact, my lovely friend Taylor sent me home with salad from her garden, so it is as fresh as can be. I have lots of beautiful farm fresh lettuce, but then here is the star of the show. I have started prepping salads in mason jars, and it works so well. It's beautiful, first off, but also it has all the things I need, and I haven't found that it's made anything soggy or, I don't know, just distasteful. I can also prep these days in advance. So I made this one yesterday, but I could make this and make 3 of them in a row and then eat them for a few days. So I love it. It's super easy. My husband loves them. We're big fans. There is a secret to this though. The dressing has to go on the bottom because you put the most sog-conscious foods at the top. So things like your cheese, your nuts, even my chicken, I don't really want in the dressing for long. So I put it at the bottom. Then if I'm doing a fruit salad, I put grapes in it because the grapes have that kind of water resistant skin. And so it's perfect. The grapes just sit in there, but they don't get kind of, again, soggy. Above that, I put my apples. And then from there, I put my chicken. And then above the chicken, you can see I put my feta. And then right in the top, I put some dried cranberries and pecans this time. So anyway, it's beautiful, works very well. And then all you need to do is pack a bowl of lettuce. Since I'm home, I might as well use a pretty plate bowl. And then you just open it up and look at your beautifully prepped, ready to go 30-second salad at most. So now I get to enjoy my beautiful salad with all of my delicious fixings out in my garden. I'm gonna go sit in my outside patio and my little table. I'll bring my work computer and just work away. I might need to change out of my sweater if it's hot outside. It's 80 degrees, I'm gonna have to change, but I am gonna go work outside and eat because I feel like you should just eat salads in the sun, right? Off you go. Hi there, welcome back to my kitchen. It is 2 hours after I had my salad. I was a little bit hungry after that, and then I wanted to give my stomach some time to register the fact that I had just eaten to see if I was actually still hungry again. And had a meeting, now I'm done, and I am still hungry, so time for a snack. One of the best midday snacks on the market is Dots pretzels. I feel like I've maybe even mentioned these before, but they're so good. They have a spice on them. So picture like a bit sort of like garlicky spicy, probably some paprika in there. Anyway, it's delicious, and I could eat an entire bag. Well, I could eat half a bag if I let myself. So instead, I'm gonna put it in a little cup and munch while I work. But gosh, they're good. If you haven't tried them, try them. I highly recommend the original. They have a few other flavors that are good, but nothing compares to the original. Let me show you what they look like. They're little spirals. They're crunchy, they're delicious. If you're really lucky, you'll get 2 of them stuck together. It's a good day. And I think since I'm having something that's a little bit, it's not spicy like spicy, but it's got makes your mouth burn just a tiny bit, garlicky. I'm going to have a drink with it. Jonathan made a homemade Arnold Palmer. That is very refreshing. He actually put a bunch of fruit in here in the last batch that we made, and it was so good. So I'm gonna have a little bit of this with my pretzels. One thing that I oddly did not have a craving for today that I usually crave is an iced coffee midday. Must have slept very well this weekend. Kudos to me. But I, on the topic of meal prep, also meal prep coffee. So I have this little ball jar, and I do a cold brew with my French press. So I put some grounds in there, I put some cold water in it, and I stick it in my fridge for 8 hours-ish. And then I have cold brew that I can drink for under a week. Sometimes I feel like if it's longer a week, it goes bad. I usually go through it anyway, so it's not much of an issue. But it's so much cheaper than either buying coffee out or buying it at work, or even my Nespresso pods. So I have really liked that. Okay, back to work. Welcome to a new segment I would like to call Cooking with Sarah. We've never done something like this before, but I just found this angle, and my little rolly island makes this very simple. So instead of getting cramped over in that corner where we usually are, we're gonna be out here today. So I was going to cook and prep this meal prep meal at the same time as doing my salmon, but I'm actually starting a bit early. Jonathan's not gonna get home for another 40 minutes maybe, and I wanna be able to serve the salmon right when he gets home. So let's do the little kind of meal preppy thing now, and then I'll work on the salmon after, and we'll just have kind of a lazy time of it, which sounds kind of fun anyway. So I will link both of the recipes we are going to do today below, but both are from a woman named Tegan who runs an account called Half Baked Harvest. She has a great Instagram account, but I usually go to her actual blog to get all of her recipes and find ideas and all that. I would say 90% of the recipes I cook are Half Baked Harvest recipes. Like, in my mind, they balance the desire for like general healthiness in the meals I prepare, making trade-offs where it's not going to impact the flavor of the dish, while not being so kind of forward in health where we're lacking like cheese and flavors and kind of the richness of a really wide variety of foods. So if you really like, she has a lot of Asian cuisine, she has a lot of sheet pan recipes, a lot of kind of like one pan casserole things, but also just beautiful garlic, spinach, cast iron meals like we're gonna make tonight. So a major variety, highly recommend. I've gotten a bunch of my friends onto her. We're big fans. Anyway, what we are going to be cooking right now is a variation, and I will say that lightly, of her Caprese prosciutto farro salad. So I say lightly because with time I've realized this is a really great recipe that does not need to be exact. So I've taken some liberties with things that I know I like and things that just make my life easier, blah, blah, blah. So we need to start with a big bowl. Big bowl has been acquired. So some things that need to go in here are 2 cups of farro or quinoa or some sort of kind of grain. So let's get that started. All right, I'm getting close for this one. This is a 90-second grain pack. You can buy these anywhere. I get these at Aldi, and they're a pantry staple for me. They're so easy, literally 90 seconds. They're very healthy. There's no preservatives in them. You can get them for just brown rice. You can get them as a mix. This is like the biggest mix you can get with 7 grains, but it's delicious. Highly recommended. And this is going to be the base that we're going to start with in our recipe. Okay, our grains are done. I am going to throw these into a big bowl. And then the next ingredient I usually use is chickpeas. I just looked at my pantry and unfortunately I don't have chickpeas in there. I must have forgotten to restock. I do, however, have great northern beans, like white beans, and that might feel kind of weird to include in this because usually you like cook them into a stew or something. But I actually think that they're gonna work as a substitute for chickpeas. And this is where I go a bit rogue in the recipe anyway. This recipe doesn't call for chickpeas, but I just think the like heartiness of them ends up tasting really good, and it just fills out the recipe versus just relying on greens. So I am going to do that. I used a very low sodium, they're my beans. I used a low sodium, I've drained and rinsed them, and I'm just gonna throw it in there. I think it'll taste good. Okay, next is our chicken sausage. One of the wonderful things about this recipe is there is no cooking involved. The 90-second microwave that we did on the greens is the most amount of cooking that we do in the whole recipe because everything else is pre-cooked. The beans are already pre-cooked, all of the chicken sauce is already pre-cooked, and then everything else is meant to be raw, like the tomatoes. So I'm gonna just slice each of these in half, and then with my big old knife, I'm going to chop them into little bite-sized chunks. Okay, so now these are going right into the bowl. Easy. Our mozzarella balls are going right into the bowl. Well, almost. Oh my gosh. If you haven't had raw mozzarella in any form, you're missing out. Okay, just a few more ingredients. We are going to have our cherry tomatoes. I personally do not love the squirt that comes from full cherry tomatoes. Like, I like the flavor of cherry tomatoes, but I do not like the burst. So I prefer to have them when possible. Okay, that is all of the cherry tomatoes. Ah. Halved. Last step here is to tear up our prosciutto and then make the vinaigrette. Okay, this vinaigrette is so easy. It is a 1/3 cup of olive oil, which I literally just eyeball. It is 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. It is 2 teaspoons of honey. It is the juice of a lemon. Thyme leaves. Really just eyeballing a sprinkle of it. A little bit of cayenne for just a tiny bit of spice. And then some salt. I'm not a big pepper fan, but it does also call for pepper. You could put in lemon pepper. Let's do that. A little bit of lemon pepper. And that, my friends, is a nearly complete recipe. I'm gonna put the prosciutto slices in last because they can kind of bunch together when you mix them. So let's bring you close and mix this guy together. This is what it looks like right now. It is so colorful. It's so fresh. And this is a whole meal. This has protein, this has grains, this has fruit veggies in your tomatoes. A little bit of dairy in there, some acids. It just doesn't get a whole lot better than that, to be honest. Now let's put in our prosciutto. I was about to say it is a struggle of mine to not eat while I cook, but I'm not gonna call it a struggle. It is a joy of mine to eat while I cook. Prosciutto tends to rip quite naturally with its veins. And so just listen to the prosciutto. Let it lead you where it wants to go. That is it. I put 5 slices of prosciutto in our mix. And this is the final outcome. The vinaigrette is just so good. You gotta try it. All right, you guys, since we spent so much time doing that recipe, I am not going to walk us through doing the salmon recipe. That one I'm pretty much going to do by the book. So if you're interested, go for it. I'll, again, link it in the description. I will time-lapse myself making it if you're interested. It's, it feels fancier because it's salmon and creams and like all these things, but really it's quite a simple recipe. So highly recommend if you're interested. I'm pairing it with green beans from our garden and my mother-in-law's garden and my mom's garden, lots of gardens mixed together. So it's gonna be a really nice meal. Hi guys, I sheepishly come to you from the next day. I completely forgot to end the video. Jonathan and I had our delicious salmon dinner, and then we played some ping pong and just hung out and just went to bed. So I never finished my video. So I am going to close this out here just by saying I hope you've had fun. I hope that some of the recipes that we explored today inspired you. Again, I'll leave a bunch of links below on some different recipes. And I would say that most of the things I cooked today, except for maybe that salmon recipe at the end, are incredibly versatile. Put your own spin on it. If you don't like bananas, use blackberries for breakfast. And if you don't like apples in your salads, use strawberries or, you know, whatever. It's super versatile, and have some fun with it. Cooking is meant to be fun. And so allow yourself to explore different flavors that you like. So anyway, I hope you've had fun. If you like this style of video, I loved making it. Food is a passion of mine. My mom's a chef. It runs in our family. So if you enjoyed this, I'd be happy to make more. And yeah, overall, I hope you have a great week. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you next Sunday. See ya.